Jay Dilla.
All right. Well, yeah, of course, actually, and also rest in power, Jay Dilla. Shout out to Mar Dukes as well. Amazing interview. Can't wait to have you back as well. So, welcome to another episode of the High Creativity Podcast, all 100% rebranded. This is our first official interview as the High Creativity Podcast with a new intro and the like. I am Jay, Uncle JuJu St. Paul, and I am joined by, as always,
Ish. That's all you get from me.
As per usual, short and sweet. And today we are joined on our first official interview on the High Creativity Podcast by an absolutely amazing being, a very unique and individual being. And I say that with all my guests, but truthfully it's a man that has many voices, which definitely does make a lot of sounds. Great messages, a true person, a true warrior, and a true advocate, shall I say, for humanity. The one and only Marv Radio. Give it up, yes, I was saying, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So that's about as much as I can really do. That's much about it. Told you, a man of many sounds. So, thanks for joining us today, King. First of all, I'm just going to start and ask, how are you keeping? How are you doing today?
I'm very well, man. You can see there's a bit of a tan on me. I'm here in Ibiza. I'm giving thanks for the weather and for my surroundings. Life is blessing me, man. Like every day, I'm seeing more and more blessings, and every day is like diving deeper into gratitude and presence. So, yeah, I'm very happy right now. Yeah, I'm also happy to be on the show, man. Been waiting for a while to be on here, so.
Yeah,
and the new branding, the first with the new branding, yeah. All right.
Yeah, for real, the first official for the new branding. And make sure you guys check out episode 1 as well, which would have been out already. And we're on Spotify as well, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're just gonna get all of this out of the way so we can free up for a good space and space for conversation. And how are you keeping, anyways, Ish?
I'm chilling, man. I'm just excited that we got Marv on here, man. This dude is awesome, man. The Beatbox just killing it, man. For real, man. I'm just excited, man. So go ahead, bro. Proceed on, man.
All right, cool. So
how you doing, brother? How you doing?
So thanks for asking, man. I was kind of getting a bit worried. I was like, oh my god, do they really care about me? I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyways, I appreciate it, man. Busy. Just working on just everything, high creativity. Looking forward to this conversation with yourself. But otherwise, sitting in spirit. I've got to say, my dreams have been a bit crazy over the last few days, showing me a few bits and bobs, but just happy I even have them, to be fair. But thank you so very much for asking.
Bro. New moon business. New moon, bro.
See, this is why I need these type of people. Anyone who knows this stuff properly to let me know, so I can just be a bit more aware and just know that every time I go to sleep, things are going to be a bit crazy, be a bit hectic, But to get to the crux of it, so I want to get to, and I want people to know as well a bit more about Marv Radio himself. Now, you've got a new project that's out. Well, as it says on your website, Mantra is now out and available. Thank you very much for the sneak peek and listen. It was an amazing listen as well. Listen to that all day Friday, I believe it was, by the time we're recording this on a Sunday. Well, you already do kind of give a lot about yourself in that, but do you mind just giving the public just a little brief history of young Marv growing up?
Yeah, so outcast, misfit, never knowing where I'm supposed to be, but kind of actually, do you know what? I scratched that. I knew what I was supposed to be, but the world kept telling me that I wasn't supposed to be that. And being a young man, being practically a child, like hearing all the time that I had to be something different, that who I wasn't the right thing. I kind of had a lot of mental health issues, dealt with depression from an early age, had a household like most of us do. I was lucky enough to have both parents in the household, but they were also at war all the time. So that was what it is. Luckily, we all kind of respect and get along with each other now, long story short. But it was quite a tough upbringing. Growing up in South London as well. We know what that's like. Growing up in Brixton, Norwood, Streatham, them ends. And I was just always kind of like a little bit different and a little bit weird. I ended up going to a grammar school because I was smart. I passed the test, but I was going there with these rich boys and dealing with institutional racism on a crazy scale. And also the fact that I was acting up because you try to fit a 3D sphere into a 2D square. Shit ain't gonna work. you know. So I was correcting the teachers, arguing with them, all kinds of stuff, but also dealing with being bullied for being different, for being darker toned, for being with a certain energy and not sounding like this every time I speak. And got on the other side of that and was bullying back, or they say bullying, they call me a bully, but it was just the fact that I spoke more with like throwing people around. So it was, yeah, it was tough. Got kicked out of school, and after 9 months of being out of school and not getting another placement, I kind of I'd been having suicidal thoughts every single day, and decided to actually end my life. And the reason, you know, when you hear the music from me from now to the end of time, it's always going to be hip hop. But some people will be like, that ain't hip hop. But hip hop saved my life. Like I was, trigger warning, just for anyone who's, you know, experienced these things and might not want to hear about it. I'm going to tell you about what I actually did. But I was, I had a loft bed. It was really annoying and creaky. I just remember it just going with every move, and not in the cool way, you know, not cool creaks in the bed. But yeah, I had a belt. I wrapped the belt round the loft bed. I wrapped it around my head, and I was suspending myself. And music was playing on my mini displayer, and it happened to go into Fug's mansion. Like I don't know, like a 30 seconds, 40 seconds in. I wasn't counting, but at the time where I was blacking out and I was starting to see colors and I was feeling this lift, like literally Tupac said to me, I once contemplated suicide and would have tried when I held that 9, all I could see was my mother's eyes. Fug's mansion, shout out Tupac, shout out the Prophet, you know. And that was a moment for me, like to not only, yeah, I thought about my mom, I pulled myself up, I got out and I started breathing again. And that was like a do or die moment. I've had a few of those in my life, but that was the point when I'm like, hip hop is deeper than most people really give it credit for. And they you know, say hip hop is this, and people say hip hop is misogynistic. I'm like, by definition, hip hop is not misogynistic. But to say that there is misogynism in hip hop, but hip hop is not misogynistic or anything like that. So this is where I was like, there's something transcendent in this. And that was kind of where I feel like what happened on a soul level was that I was given an opportunity to live. And through that, I pledged myself to the voice. And strangely enough, like I was born with a cord around my neck. Whether or not people believe in past lives or not, I've had a few experiences that have shown me things. We'll talk about that a little bit later if you want. But also, I was, the last life that I can remember was also being lynched in the South in America. So the throat, the voice, this area here has always been key for me, and it still is. But now, instead of, you know, trying to leave through that, I'm using it as a bridge between worlds and trying to, well, not even trying to, like my thing is healing, music, coaching. I do all kinds of stuff to help people reach their highest vibration, and I have been experimenting on that with myself for quite a while. So yeah, young Marv was a misfit. He wanted to be a thug, but he didn't have the heart for it. My dad beat the living shit out of me, so that I was scared of him finding out I was on the road. Like more than police, more than guns, more than knives. Like my dad would have found out, because he came from a rough environment in Liverpool called Toxteth. He was part of the Toxteth race riots and all that, fighting grown men from when he was 12 and all that. So he was he still is, but he's the strongest man I ever known. Only man I ever seen kick a car door and the thing dented in like a fucking V. Excuse my language. But yeah, like, so those were the licks I was holding. So let's just say I was very quickly deciding that I did not want to be a road guy and have the pleasure of not having a criminal record and not having many of those near-death experiences, but having them come in other forms, you know. But yeah, it's been a journey. The thing that was key was when I was 9, I think 8 or 9, my oldest brother gave me the Funk Flex mixtape. I can't remember which one it was. And my dad heard it and he was like, "What the?" And then I got beat again. But like my older brother, shout out Honest T, my brother Jay, he was playing hip hop and he was rapping, and I was 4 years younger than him. So when I was 9, I started writing raps, and it was that motherfucking nigga. It was terrible stuff, but not stuff you expect a 9-year-old to be saying. But eventually, I found my own voice, and hip hop has been the heartbeat to my whole life, not just my youth, but it's still very much the philosophy I live by in this present moment.
Wow.
Well, also, and as a
That's deep.
side note, that just took apart a load of questions that I had leading up to this particular point. So thank you for the honest share. Like for thank you very much for that.
Yeah, but I'm not very good with planning, man. Plans fall apart around me. The universe has its plan.
Well, okay, but that's fine. Then let's roll with the universe then if it wants to rock and roll on this basis. But yo, that's just an amazing and also heart-wrenching story to say that, to actually say the least. The fact is that, you know, even from that particular point, there was an actual physical attempt, you know. So I definitely disclaimer again in the sense of the trigger warning around this, because me myself personally, Ish has also expressed himself. You know, he's gone through his dark times. For me, I've even just had a recent traumatic event that's led to some cases, or should I say symptoms of PTSD. And that's led me to be here exactly where I'm at this particular moment in time. But I guess now, since you've expressed the story, and this is the only reason why I'm mentioning it, is because what is it? What track was it again? It's not Must Be the Music. It was the one that you had. There was another brother on it as well, but it's when you exactly said that, you said that exact same lyric, you know, the Tupac lyric, and that just killed me like completely. Is
Road to Ruin.
Road to Ruin is, yeah, it was.
I had to use the number 2 as a reference to Park himself, you know. So Road to Ruin, yeah.
Road to Ruin, yeah. So first of all, and shout out to because you didn't highlight every single of the people on the features and such, but for whoever did, actually they barred that out completely.
It's me.
Yeah. Seriously,
on that track. Yeah.
Seriously, it was because what's the other? Is it Must Be the Music? Is the
music? Yeah, that has a feature. Vas Leon. Shout out.
Vas Leon. That's it. I'm sorry, my bad. It's just, once again, it's all just coming together as your whole life story in music.
But that's good though, because it's all bridged with story, and it's a movie. It's not tracks. It's like I'm aiming to get funds to make a film, but it is one movement through that. So that's showing that my job has been done well in making the album, you know, that you see it as one track.
Because that's the thing, I see it as I actually see this as like even though almost as an animation as well. Because I know when Heal Me, the track that you've got from this as well, that it has that animated effect that's over it, kind of that kind of cell shaded kind of Street Fighter 5 kind of looking, with the lines and the graphics of, you know, the people and yourself, and then the kind of journey through Peru, I believe it is, from the story that you told. But
yeah,
before we start crossing those bridges, let's have a little bit of fun in the conversation. So now you as a 9-year-old is being out there, you're now spitting a whole bunch. Should we say you're spitting some crud out there? It's a real crud. It's a real hardcore crud out there. What was your first experience actually reciting your rhyme in front of other people like? I'm interested in it. How did you get to that? Yeah. What gave you the courage to that? And then what was that experience like?
So the first time was like in front of my brother and his friends, and like like that lyric did not get shared with people. Like it was just like I was still very much in my shell then. Like I wasn't a confident kid. Definitely wasn't a confident kid. As people might be surprised to that, but I've had my confidence burst open and burnt into me. Like that's how it came around. But yeah, I remember like trying to spit in front of my brothers and my brother and his friends, and like kind of being told I'm whack and I was uncool and I was all this kind of stuff. But then when I got to about 13, 14, I was actually being able to bar. I remember being in a cypher with my brother and the man them, and they're like, bro, that's sick. And I was making beats back then. I was like producing and stuff like that. So they kind of understood me. But I do remember my first experience in the studio, this young one going in with olders, and like I just remember spitting these bars and my leg shaking, like just going, people listening to me. I think if I remember rightly, it was like, I'm the future and the present, and that ain't going to be present if you people start messing if you people start messing with my music and put your bets in. Need to start blessing, that's right. Need to start learning, that's why I'm teaching, or some stuff like that. And they were like, I was nervous, and then they were like, bars, how old is he? Bars. I'm like, they like me? Like shook. Like, yeah, it was a long journey for me to find the comfort in my own voice. Real long journey. But yeah, that was the first real memory of sharing. And then also being in school, that was different because I was, even though it's a grammar school, people wanted to MC, you know, hip hop was
Mm.
everywhere. So I was the guy, like I was beatboxing, I was MCing, like by the time I was 13, and these lot were like, they're like, oh Marv, can you spit that one? Can you spit that one? And like, but it was, you know, it was this big fish, little pond in terms of like hip hop in that school, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, I remember that being something. They're like, oh, you're sick, and just feeling that when I spat bars or beatboxed, finally people would accept my vibration and who I was and celebrate it. And apart from that, you know, normal everyday Marv was like, go over there by yourself. No one wants you here.
Well, touching on that as well, because you did mention if you're happy to share, but you mentioned that your confidence had been shattered quite a lot even before this particular time in life, and I'm sure like with most of us, we have those moments. But what was the ones that were most kind of significant, and also because that's also the triumph of you getting over it and being like, yeah, listen to what I've got to say. I mean, if you feel free to kind of share on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was confidence in some ways. Like when I was challenging teachers or being a class clown or like standing up for myself, there was confidence. But in terms of actually saying something, like actually, it took a long time. But I think the first time I really felt confident was in college, Richmond College. Shout out the Richmond College family. And yeah, I basically was beatboxing at I think I'm 17, 18 now. I was beatboxing at a stage show, Black History Month show, and I had an out of body experience for real. Like I was beatboxing, the crowd start going crazy, like, what? Listen to this guy. And then I left my body. I'm watching myself, and I'm hearing the sounds come out, but feeling like I have no control of it. And I'm seeing everybody moving, and then it all starts going to swirls and geometry and colors and lights. And I'm like, what is that? And that's when another, like for me, the thing that has made me so addicted to the voice and music is the magic in it. So that was a real moment of reclaiming and being like, whoa, this is unexplainable. Like you're outside of your body, and then everyone turns into like patterns and colors. Well, go on for that. And I was bunning herb this time, so I was probably pretty high, but like I had no idea about psychedelics. But yeah, I think the moments where I become muted in my life was seeing. I was one of those. A lot of kids are, but I was one of those kids who would say what I see and just be like, "Oh, but that's you," and then like I'm just trying to be honest. So, like we put and that confidence there was dented in some ways, like from the outcome of speaking out honestly and realizing that people really didn't have any interest in hearing my honest reflection on things. So yes, it's been a journey. It still is a journey, but right now I feel I'm in a point where my voice is completely open. I don't need to plan anything. I don't need, like, it just does what it needs to do, and it's my number one tool for magic. Speaking up to teachers. The other one, like being around people who talk behind people's backs and not being someone who talks behind people's backs and being like, oh, there's this thing that everybody feels is a problem, and everyone's like, no, we don't feel that. No. Well, you didn't say that. You're on your own there. And I'm like, is this how people roll in life? Really?
And as we found out, yeah, it is pretty much the case, man. But I love the way that you expressed the case of the out of body experience. I guess for me, when it comes to music, it's kind of similar, but it's not. It's almost like I feel the same feeling that you had, but it's internally. It's like like the mycelial network. It just feels like it's connected to everything, and it's almost like it just passes and it transits. That's the reason. Well, one of the major reasons I decided to take up DJing and steer away from the pen and the pad, because I'm like, well, I've got just as much of a good ear for music, and I know what I like, and I know how to play, and I also know what people will want to hear, even if they've never heard it before. And it's one of those things. And when I actually then physically did my first DJ set, admittedly nervous as hell, it was a house party, and the worst thing was, as a house party was literally majority filled with nothing but hood man. Right, so roadman galore, and this was a girl that my cousin had known. Shout out to Salima. Like, regardless, this is what put me on, and she had like a few of her friends and such. And I'm not going to get into the intricacies of the actual the story, bro. Literally, it's a small flat. I can't remember even what ends it was in. Might have been East London, possibly, or East South London. And she literally got these 2 speakers, a little quick setup, which I'm not even going to get into what happened to the speakers because, anyways, and I remember just playing to a room. And can you believe it or not, seeing a room full of the hardest roadman? So, yo, like, look, for your safety, just don't mention you were there. Unless you're going for clout, then you're happy for this. But how can you be playing, or they're asking, I want you to play it, because it's at the time that Drake, you know, that there's a room full of ninjas. What are you staring at me for? They want to hear this, right? So obviously me as a DJ, I'm playing it and I'm really mixing up the house and a whole bunch of other bits and bobs and that. And I literally playing that track, and I'm in true roadman style. There's no one in the front living space at all. They're all lined up on the wall, going out in the hallway, right, leading to the kitchen and whatnot. And they're all just like that. Yeah, no, that's my tune. And from that point, you know, not just from that point, but it's just like, once again, continuously, music never fails. You know, like the internet never always wins and it never fails. Yeah. Music does the exact same thing. So
it's alchemy, bro.
Bruh.
It's like you took someone's intention and brought it into their experience. Like, you know, DJs are the foundation of this thing. Like, bringing records that existed and mixing them together to make something new. You know, we know the stories of the B-boys and how the breaks got made. So that's, you know, I always say, like, it's just gonna be a brief one because, you know, I can tangentially speak for an hour without anyone interrupting me. But yeah, like the DJs are the alchemists. They take parts of stuff and make it new and share that vibration out with people. The MCs, clear as day, master of ceremony. Like, these are the leaders of, like, we say put your hands in the air, people put their hands in the air. You say make some noise, people make some noise. Never in mind if people are like actually, you know, spitting lyrics or not. Like, the MC is hosting, and like yeah, the shamanic side of things, what I do, you know, that master of ceremony thing came in even more. And then you have the writers, the graffiti artists, who are like literally like transforming their environment and risking their safety, risking their freedom to paint new pictures and put their names up and get up, which is original caveman, like actual
drawing scriptures,
hieroglyphs, man, hieroglyphs. You know what I mean?
It's truth.
Like, that's ancient Kemet. You know what I mean? Like, make pictures with words. And then obviously the B-boys, the B-girls, the dancers, the movers and shakers, they're yogis, they're illusionists, they look like they're robots, they look like they're like water. You know, that this is deeper than just let me get on the mic and let me get my hype.
Let me say a couple words.
Oh yeah, I got this, I got that. Oh yeah, I got this tucked in my trousers and I got this in my backpack. If you want some of this, you better watch out for it. Like, it's not, obviously that's reflective of the environment, so I'm not gonna like put dirt on that. But that was never supposed to be like when you got middle class boys and men forging their whole careers on acting like they are hard done roadmen because that's what the industry wants them to say. That's when you have a problem. When people are shining the light on their stories, and when you hear the most tugged out people, most of the time they're it's cautionary tales. It's like, this is not, you know, I have to mention him, man. DMX, bro. Like, DMX.
That's and even the X story, if you really have, you know what, the difference is actually one, having an understanding and an empathy, and also knowing what some of the things that he experienced can do, even if it's a branch of things. And I know that sounds quite cryptic and a bit kind of over there for certain people to absorb, but no, really, my tribute track that I'll be playing on tonight's episode of the Loud Bass One, my main tribute track, other than a few others, is Trouble Man by Marvin Gaye, because I just believe that truly just embodies, you know, exactly what it is. And even in his own way, Marvin Gaye had his own struggles and his own things, and that was with his his father and his own family and such. So there's like so many levels to it, but without us, but not taking away from the subject, but I believe it's exactly like you said, it's what we do, or what any real musician does. And I think as a slice of creativity, because we all do, we create something from nothing. We are truly, and especially in this day and age, digital shamans, or that was way is explained by like being a DJ is being a digital shaman. And then it's the rest of whatever the circle and things bring. You know, when they look at certain ancient tribes and certain cultures, when it comes to certain celebrations or tributes or ceremonies, a lot of people are wired to believe that's supposed to be, you know, that's caveman business, that's backward, you know, that's old. But if anyone's ever really been in a circle or just been chilling with friends and the right music is playing, how many of us feel lifted? If we're all in a good mood, suddenly we're all interconnected and everybody's having fun. And I can say that as a DJ, because when I go out actively to play, it's to actively make sure I move the crowd. Because, and the same way an MC does, I'm out here to move the crowd. The same way a beatboxer does, I am moving a crowd.
Yep.
And that moves everybody instinctively. So,
and that's feeling. You take people out of what they're going through in that moment to the point where people on one side might want to actually like bad up the other person on the other side, but in that moment they get taken out of that and they will go, wah! They will make that experience, you know. And just the last little point on DMX, like listening to Let Me Fly after his passing, like listening to those lyrics and being like, oh okay. Because I was a kid, I was fascinated by the dog, but then it's like, Lord, can we get a break? We ain't really happy here. He's not going, I'm so gangster and I'm happy about it. He shed and bled his pen. And that I wouldn't be who I am MC wise without DMX. I don't think any MC that really is into hip hop would. That guy was a renegade, and from the point where he was literally the face of Def Jam and everything, and the Woodstock performance. Anyway, I could go on and on about that guy.
But if I'm going to touch on that, just sorry, then Ish will let you roll. But slipping for me was, because the thing is, though, hearing X on one side, where are my dogs at? You know, Rough Riders, like yo, oh, and then all you hear is, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. Gotta get back on my feet so I can tell. And that for me is the killer one, because anytime that I've ever felt completely lost or I felt completely gone in a whole situation. Sorry, again, ladies and gentlemen, dog family life, it is what it is. But
well, we're talking about the dog, bro.
Well, yeah, in fact, talking about X. They're in a pit bull. Shout out to Lola. Shout out to Fifi. That's my dogs and them. But that's exactly my point. It's like in fact, actually, that's great for this line of conversation. That's why I love Marv, because he gets it. So but what I'm gonna say is like legitimately, like slipping, even going through the same troubles that we all do as kids in high school. And on one hand, I will listen to Onyx. Then on the other hand, you can listen to DMX, Mobb Deep. I was a lot heavy East Coast in a majority of my early hip hop days. But you just listen to Slippin', you're having the worst day ever. You feel that you want to F someone up as well. Like imagine you want to fight, but you know, if I'm going to fight, I'm going to get in trouble. So I know there's going to be some issues at home. So as Marv, you've mentioned, there's what's more drama than what you got at home? No drama matches that. That's licks beyond licks. Then it's like, okay, do you want to get involved with police drama? Well, no, because in the police involved, then I'm going to get triple the licks that I got in the first place. Or do you go and get a fight in school? And it's like, well, no, because then I'm in trouble at school and then I'm going to get trouble at home in the first place. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stick on Slip. I'm going to listen to some angry DMX for real, first of all. I'm going to get into my complete zone, DMX, the locks, the whole lot. I'm not going to try embarrass myself, remember everything, because tonight's show is going to kill it. But when you just want to settle, it's to that point where you actually, you know, you're so angry that you cry, but your soul's crying. You just put on Slipping and you hear that C first of all. So that's the trick behind it, because that's the stuff that they put in them spars. Here, now listen to the sounds of the oceans. I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. Like, oh, now I'm relaxing. Now I'm relaxing. Put them pebbles on me. I got tear shit up.
Bro, but to think, man was quoting Friedrich Nietzsche, bro. Like, to live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning in the suffering. Like, he was quoting philosophy.
Yeah. Explain Drake Nietzsche. Explain that for everyone who doesn't know. If you can.
Google, fam. Google Friedrich, F-R-I-D-R, like philosophy. Yeah. Real philosophy. Like, the man is talking about life is innately about suffering, but finding the meaning in the suffering. This is what my album's like. This is what Mantra's about. Like, and I was reflecting on that, because the reason I mentioned Let Me Fly is because Slipping, I got that when I was a kid. I understood like how deep that was. But when I've listened to Let Me Fly now, and I haven't listened to DMX for a good four years or something, which is a sin in my eyes. Like, I can't believe it's been that long.
Don't beat yourself up.
No, I won't. But like, it won't happen again. Let's put it that way. To hear that as the intro of a song, and then hear that, like, and the hauntingness of that, and the fact that there's no dirty version of that track because the guy he sampled it from refused to have curse words on his track. So this was him pouring his heart out, where it's like, stop it, come on. Like it's all anyway. I'll go on. I know Ish got some stuff to say. I could go on about it, but like
I'm loving this conversation, but I equate DMX to the life of Donny Hathaway a little bit, because if you listen to Donny Hathaway, like a lot of his songs was calling for help. You know, if you listen to a lot of songs, like the song for You. I know a lot of people think that was a love song, but to me personally, I think that was kind of a love song to himself. You know what I mean? And so going back to DMX, I think he was an advocate for mental health, but not saying it that he was. If you think about it, like a lot of his songs, like prime example, Slippin'.
Yeah,
it's it's a continual reminding that I'm falling, but I gotta get up. You know what I mean? And so it's an interesting dynamic when you talk about that, you know, a lot of those artists that we love, they go through a lot of shit, and they do a great way of producing it into song, and it resonates with a lot of people. And then going back to the quote from Nietzsche is important, because a lot of that inspiration comes from basically trauma.
Yeah, good point.
Trauma is where a lot of people great work comes from.
100%, man. I mean, even like I didn't even clock. I got a track called "Falling," and it's like if I ever feel like falling, I gotta get up. And I'm like, shit. Like, that's
funny enough, that's
too.
Yeah, it is.
That's actually falling off mountains and falling off buildings and having injuries, like mad stuff that could have killed me. But like, and you just brought up the lyrics as well for "Let Me Fly." Like, I sold my soul to the devil in the price.
Yeah, like
we could do a whole. Let's do a DMX show at some point, because this is meant
we
to
are. We're doing one on Tuesday. We're doing one on Tuesday.
We're doing it on Tuesday, so you're down.
I might have to jump in, bro.
You're welcome to be a part of it.
It's on Tuesday though, so you need to let me know what your schedule's like, bro. Because like obviously I want to hold you up in any way, shape. But yeah, we're doing a DMX tribute episode. I'm gonna reach out to a few heads and see how many people we can get together for that, because it'll be quite nice.
The last thing I want to say on on X, is he embodied the path of a healer and a shaman, but he had the wrong medicine. Like coca leaf. The coca plant is a pure medicine that is super nutritious, super healthy, and it keeps it makes you talk. Then you make cocaine, and then you make crack. And this guy faced his demons every fucking day. Like, again, use my français, but like every day he was I don't swear on my tracks most of the time. Like, if you do,
you actually don't. Yeah, you're good like that.
But like in terms of he faced his demons. Damien, part 1 to 3. Like, are you mad?
That's what I'm saying. No, man. Like, yeah, I even had to say that the other day when I was chopping up with my cousin and a friend, and that I was just like, you know, when we was talking about his the demons, exactly the same sentiment that you said. He even made a track, and that's what I said. You even made a track called Damien. This is how deep he knew his demons, and this is why when it comes to X, I don't care what anyone says. If you don't understand coping mechanisms, and furthermore, you can't even step into this realm, because when you actually have to create a persona in order to deal with what you're coping with, because if you've watched Rough Rider Chronicles, BT actually Moment's got 11-hour plus video that's up on YouTube for anyone that wants to watch it at the moment, which covers the Rough Rider Chronicles and his story. No, I'm sorry, this is where it hurts, man, because it's like, despite everything that he went through in a typical story that someone from the East would go through at that particular time, but coming from that side of the pond will happily tell you, and all of the other New Jersey lot that we've spoken to, New York lot, Raheem, everyone will tell you that how crazy that was. And literally, he was originally a beatboxer like yourself. you know, and then it was the same guy that got him into rhyming, taught him whatever it was, and he's the one who got him on that journey. Now, I'm sorry, one thing I will say about X, and you know, I will have to take this to my grave because I actually solidly believe it through my whole bones. X was too honest of a person. X is the same person that would actually tell you, I'm gonna imitate the police today and have Method Man in the front car as well, and we're gonna go around acting like we the cops. How are you gonna tell me that this person's gonna like straight up lie about where he came into line and contact with that line of journeys? So to take him back onto what you were saying, Marv, if say for instance that was changed with psychedelics as just in general, I think X would have been a completely different beast, but still with the same, potentially the same energy, but on a different course.
Twice the lifespan. But again, what I plan to do, and it's not just through music. Like I'm ready to, like, what I'm working with in coaching and helping people is about to give me, and it is giving me what I need to invest in my music. So I don't need a label, so I can like put the money in that I've never been able to put into my music ever in my life. But what my mission is here to do, and that's awaken all the voices and bring the healing vibration back to hip hop, and let this high vibrational music be at the forefront of what people are consuming. That would not have happened without me listening to DMX. That would not happen without his sacrifice, without his scars, without his, you know, his overdoses over the years, without like seeing the stuff with his family. Again, this is not the DMX episode, but it's hard not to talk about him at this present moment. And everybody that I spoke to that is a hip hop head, we've been having deep ones. And I mean, my mushroom journey tonight, I think I'm gonna have to start it off with listening to It's Dark and Hell Is Hot. As triggering as that might be for a mushroom journey, I think I'm gonna have to just do that.
Do it.
Well, I'm gonna have to slightly edit that, but I'm gonna say, yeah, no, for real.
Do it.
But then again, no. Actually, no, not even. Well, let's be honest. It's like it depends if as we know, if there's that little trigger that puts you on that up. As long as you can keep just here, you're okay. As long as there isn't something that does that, you're all right. And you know what I mean by that as well. As long as you can keep here, you're okay. As soon as you just do that, it's game over. The rest of what you're going through is going to be a.
Well, quick question, King. I want to talk about the power of words. I think when you alluded to earlier how Tupac verse kind of saved your life. Can you talk about a young Merv? You know, I watched one of your YouTubes, and you were talking about how words played a critical role in your life, especially with spelling bees, and how you get mad if you would spell the word wrong. Talk about that.
Yeah, I got obsessive about spelling. Like, and you don't have to be a genius in spelling. Like the language that we have right now that we're speaking is a Latin derivative control form, a contractual form to create pacts to hold you within a certain resonance. And that, if you master that and are aware of that, is super empowering, because then you can say, I can achieve anything. But you can also say, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. Nobody's gonna listen to me. And you know what I feel is that we are the one conscious force that flows through many separations of itself in order to have experience. And within that, there's this construct that asks us, how much do you want it, and creates every block that we can, and builds the trauma. Like kids when they sing, or that mom or dad has come home from work, they've been working all day, and I was doing it, my inner child was playing, but I was just going I was literally doing that for like 10-15 minutes, but the person I was with, I explained that I needed to do it at the time, and they were cool with it. But at that point, your mom and dad turns around and says, can you shut up? Do you know how hard my day's been? That trauma can shut the greatest prophet from ever speaking their truth, because your voice is the carrier wave of your consciousness. It's the carrier wave of your consciousness. And the voice is not this thing, it's the carrier wave of our consciousness. You know, I'm not Christian, but I was raised that way, like in the beginning was the word, and the word was God. Like speaking and singing our reality into existence, and then we are built in their image. I don't say his anymore because it's both. for the Most High creative being. It's both. It's not a masculine figure for me. But yeah, so this creation through voice has been given to us, and it's almost like we have been given all the powers of the universe, but it's been put behind a wall that we must strategically learn how to break down, so that each word that we say weaves power and creativity. And I actually work as a transformational voice coach. I help people find their purpose, like work through the blocks that they have for their abundance, work into like singing and find their creativity, and all. The voice is a 360-degree and more than three. It's all dimensions. Like the times where I've lost my body, maybe through doing a shamanic experience or a journey with some plant teachers, my voice was there. And my voice is what downloaded that experience, where this person who's speaking to you now doesn't exist, cannot identify in that moment. So the voice still being there, it's a container. It's a, like, if you look, so look at the DNA and then look at the waveforms on a voice. Look at the mountains and then look at the waveforms on a track. Look at water waves and breathe, or go and watch how everything is the sound and resonance of vibration in this beautiful cosmic playground that we've been made. But there has been, some magicians who figured this out pretty early, and they had a lot of let's say a lot of history of having access to everything that everyone else didn't, and they fought tooth and nail to make sure people didn't access this. And they used to be my enemy. They're not anymore. I empathize with how much fear they have of losing their control, that they have to keep pouring everything into this, and they know they're not going to win, and we know they're not going to win. It's mad. The voice is everything.
That's the beauty of the fact of what chaos is, because that is what, from my experiences and journeys of how much I love it. Because the fact is, if you just ride the chaos, it doesn't have to necessarily make sense, but it does. It's a really weird construct and feeling. But what I was gonna just tap into, sorry, Ish,
okay, bro,
was where was it the trigger for you to then start making these offerings and experiences, and your sound groups, your sessions, and this whole healing experience? Because you've already gone through a lot, because I don't want to spoil the album, because it's like spoiling your life really for Madra, but because it's all there.
Funny, next interview, if I don't like the person, I'm gonna be like, just play my album from start to end.
Finish, yeah.
I don't need to turn up.
It really is. No, it really is. Yeah. Well, yeah, but there's also the reason why I do these things, especially when it comes to listening to people that I want to speak to, is this is your body of your work. And especially if that's a easiest way to a window of your soul or a small little section, then I'll take it. That's where we bounce, because that's what you want to present to people. But anyways, without digressing too much, where was it that you said, this is where I found my healing, but now I want to see if I can help heal others as well, and see if other people resonate like that? Because it takes a lot to go from one stage of healing yourself to then wanting to be like, well, look, I'm interested to share and see what's working, what's not, and what new I can learn from this experience.
Well, I was always like trying to be a conscious rapper, but my actions potentially weren't what I was saying. Like, I wrote songs at 15 when I was in that depression that actually I listened to, or the lyrics now, and I'm like, it makes more sense every day. But I had a heroic dose of mycelial teacher, a psilocybin, and first of all, I woke up in some pod with some alien light code language, and then I was like, what does this mean? And I got thrown straight back down. So if you're ever in that space, don't ask what it means. Just be there. Just be there. But when I came back to my body, I had this like naked Elysian play where I was, first of all, I just kept repeating this sound. I didn't know what it was. Like, and it was like, and then it became, what do I do? What do I say? And then it was me going, what do I do? What do I say? And then it was like, oh shit, this is how far my words are away from my actions. So as I continued on in life, I had the absolute pleasure to come across other plant teachers from the sacred Amazonian tribes. I went to South America. I got an advert deal. I did beatboxing for a first direct advert. If If anyone's ever seen this advert, you'll recognize the sound. It was I paraphrased. It wasn't exactly what I did, but yeah. So I got that advert and I got money and I went straight to Peru, and I could have invested that money in so many things, but I invested it in Peru, and then Peru took me to Ecuador, and in Ecuador I had that experience that I was telling you about, where I was able to go to the cosmos and learn the power of voice through deaf. But before that, my ego took me to a mountain, and then the spirit of Peru threw me unceremoniously off that mountain, and I had a 30+ foot fall. I mean, I didn't have my tape measure at the time. I'm sorry, guys, but I was, let's say, I had hang time. I had time to think that I actually could die now. Close my eyes, see a white light, hear choirs singing. Look, what before that happened? Look down, see boulders, and be like, I can't land flat here. Close my eyes, see this white light. Open my eyes again, and as I open my eyes and look down, it's completely clear. I'm not going to boulders, and I'm like, what? So at this moment, I was being told that my ego had to die for me to carry on forward and for me to be the person I am. Long story short, download the album. But no, long story short, I basically was unable to walk for 2 days. 2 days later, plant teacher ayahuasca, which is not only illegal, but a sacred sacrament in Peru, that came to the house that I was in by pure chance. I was going to go somewhere else for it, and that was what was happening. I couldn't walk, and I drank this thing, and I was walking the same night. And then through that journey, 2 weeks later, I was climbing another mountain, but this time with other people, not by myself, not angry. Again, check the album for the full story. And another teacher called San Pedro, a cactus, similar to peyote, again, a sacred legal plant in South America. Some people call it mescaline if you extract it, but I'm not into the extracts myself. I took this thing and it said in my ear very clearly, how can you be a healer with sickness in your name? And I'm like, what? My name used to be Marv Earl. I don't know if anyone knew from that. There might be someone watching here that knew Marv Earl, and that's who I was as a beatboxer. And I was sick a lot, I was actually sick a lot. And then this plant goes, don't call yourself that anymore. So I had to be Marv. I went on my journey. I had that cosmic experience where I realized what my voice actually was. And when I came back, and I'm still integrating that experience to this day, I have to say it's still more codes, because that was the time that I spent in that cosmic realm outside of life and death, like thousands, if not hundreds of thousands times as long as I've been in this body. So now I'm trying to integrate that, because timelessness, right? I'm trying to integrate that, and I come back, and my whole life I'm having my Saturn return. For those who don't know, 27 to 30, everything that you build gets shaken to its foundation. You have the chance to rebuild who you are in that time. It's an incredible astrological phenomenon that, for those who are connected, it's always the same. So yeah, I basically came back, had to integrate that, started doing sound healing sessions, started the elevator sound bath, started doing donation-based healing for people. And then I remember doing a healing session for a healer who'd been doing it for 30 years. And she turned around to me and says, that is the most powerful healing I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
So then from there to now, I'm now in a position where my life is accepting that I am a powerful and potent force for change, and also that I'm not a healer anymore. I'm not somebody else's healer. I'm your guide to your own personal healing. You heal yourself, your own voice. Your own voice will heal you more than any crystal bowls or didgeridoo. 500 grams of mushroom. Okay, man, that might do something. But,
do a little something.
Might do a little something. Never got anywhere near that. But, nope.
Not just yet. Even though there is that guy in Africa who does 40 G's at a time, but that's another story.
Baba Kalindi, yeah, I know a lot of his followers, and
well, there you go.
Done journeys with them, yeah. Rest his soul, Baba Kalindi. So that was when I realized, okay, I can invite people into a vibrational experience that allows them to connect to themselves and make their brain stop and step into their heart. But ultimately, I have no responsibility for what they do with that. And if they don't if you don't find your own voice and start speaking into the power of your voice and your path in life, you will continually go from guru to guru. Like I've never been one, like my album's called Mantra, and people are like, do you do mantras? I'm like, no. Like, I mean, yeah, but no, I don't do like Sanskrit mantras, because I'm not one for the guru. I'm not one for like the school, the temple. You know, a temple hip hop's all I need. And that tells me to find my own vibration and sing it powerfully. So yeah, long story long. Yeah, basically it's been a journey, and then I found what my voice would do to myself in states, and then I found what it would do to other people in states, and then I found what it could do for people when they're completely sober and nothing's happening. And I'm like, okay, that's my mission. Bring this to the world. Let people know that this is a thing that, you know, everybody can feel. Everybody can feel the resonance, and it doesn't have to be as far as being able to go. It can just be as simple as going. I guarantee anybody.
Do you not realize how much more bass that you have when you do that? I'll be like, but it's nowhere near like you literally sound like I'm willing. You know when you're just about to plug in that aux or that cable in, just like. You know, like, no, man, I'm sorry. You've definitely got it. But like your to get into how Marv found his upgrade in his voice, once again, you need to listen. You need to just listen to Mantra. Like 100% listen to Mantra.
The point there, I mean, I love what you said, but it kind of take away from my point.
Sorry.
Yes, no, it's cool. I appreciate it. Yes, my voice can do some incredible things, but if you can sit there and just go, however it sounds, for more than 10 minutes and tell me you don't feel something magical happening, you need to pay more attention. Like if you're sitting there and you're going, even in terms of, you know, connecting to other beings, love making, all kinds of things, your voice, the ability to go, and hear and feel the vibration and resonance of your voice. That is the ultimate medicine for me. That is my message to the world. The ultimate medicine is in your own voice. And I'm fortunate enough to have spent some 25 years being obsessed about my voice, and about 12 years attaching that idea of voice to, you know, medicine and healing. So yeah, this is yeah, as I say, could go on forever and ever, but I appreciate the prompt and the question, because it is.
King, this is dope. Can you talk about the connection of finding your voice and Mother Nature? Because I think they go hand in hand together.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys mind if I speak in bird language?
Go for it, brother.
Go, man, for the fly away. Okay, that's interesting. I feel you.
I feel you on
kind of
that.
I get that feeling from time to time.
I do too.
To the point of that is, like, Mother Nature doesn't ask permission to use her voice ever. Like,
True.
I was just doing an Instagram live today, and I'm freestyling over chill hot beats, and people and I'm stopping, and the birds are coming through, and they're like, and I'm
also
like,
shout out to Chill Hop. Quick shout out, plug to Chill Hop on that one. 100%. Love you guys, for real. Keep it coming. Sorry, please continue. Sorry, but I had to.
Well, I don't use them particularly, but you know the name, the style, the genre. But yeah, and it was like the birds were singing, and I started doing something. Even when I was in the Amazon and in nature, there's birds called toucans, and toucans make every toucan has a different sound. They have some of them, they sound like, some of them like chainsaws, and then there was one that was doing this sound. And I was like, how the hell do you do that sound? But I would come back and I would attempt to make these sounds as well. And when I came within 10 foot of the tree, I would hear that it would be like just general, shout out to Stigmata. It would be like, it would be general sounds that they're making. And then when I came back within 10 foot, they would greet me. Like, nature is constantly singing to us. Unfortunately, in London, it's vying for attention with. Oh, you shut the fuck up! Like all that's you can't hear the nature underneath the whole of what this construct is, and this is one of the reasons that I moved to IB for. Right now, like, I walk 1 minute and it's trees. I walk 5 minutes as a beach. I walk 15 minutes as a mountain. Like, and the difference in that, I don't need these when I'm walking around. I don't need headphones to block out the construction, the building, and all this stuff that like blocks our frequency of sound. Like we live in cities that block the wave. Remember, we are the carrier wave of sound, and that's the consciousness that we are. So Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, I love you because I can still use you to connect with people. I'm not going to say anything bad about Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, apart from the fact that it does cause cancer. Oops. But yeah, like it's basically we have all these interruptions. Side note, but you know, boost your immune system the best you can. That's all I can say in this world. We have sounds that interrupt us in unnatural surroundings that stop the vibration and carrier wave of who we are and what our song is. Like our life is a song, our life is a story. It's being told, it's being sung. We find the harmonic resonant notes, we find the different characters, we go through the arcs, and there's this whole construct that believes it is outside of nature. But then you go to the park and then you're in nature again and birds are going, and they're not asking for permission to make that sound. And I started making that sound back to them. Nature, the Amazon rainforest. Oh my gosh. Like,
did they respond? Yeah.
I mean, it's not even that it responds. It crafts everything. Like you walk in and the insects are screaming, the birds are screaming, then you get the howler monkeys going woo, 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 and there's like a soundscape like that. You want to ask me what sound healing is? Pure sound healing? Go to the Amazon or any other rainforest. Like go to Thailand. I mean, obviously, yeah, I know borders are closed. Sorry, bad advice. But like, if you can get to those places and you can experience that sound never stops, and when you dream, it comes into your dreams, and you wake up and it's different throughout the day and night. That for me started to open my mind. And I want to shout out my brother KMT, the freedom teacher, because when I came back, he was like, "You need to do soundscapes. You need to do soundscapes of what you did in the jungle, what you heard in the jungle." And I was like, "That's going to be too hard." And then it ended up being in my album, in my one-man show mantra that led to the album Experience. And nature, the sounds of waves, we don't get to hear it. Like, when's the last time you heard the sound of the Thames? Nobody hears the sound of the Thames. Nobody hears the song of the Thames, and it's dying and it's poisoned, you know? So, and you look at the Thames, dun, 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 sine wave once again.
do. And anyone who don't know, that means you ain't from our bits, Kazo.
Get out of my pop. No, so it's basically we are still nature. You're not my mother. All right, cool. Big up EastEnders. My mum
big
loved
up
that,
EastEnders. Big up
Prince.
EastEnders, man. For real.
But yeah, we're still nature, you know. I mean, look, remember when we used to dial up internet and then you'd be I genuinely, as a kid, thought that was spirits, like
I can see that
the spirit realm being like
connected
played with. And who's to say it isn't? But like, point is, what we are still in a city is nature, but it's altered nature. And when you go back to the kind of nature that hasn't been touched for thousands of years, which is rarer and rarer as oil is needed, as more and more toxicity comes into this world, more and more we're like, put fire on it, make it go faster. Put fire in it, make it go faster. Silly little humans. Sit still. See how fast you go. See how you can fly through the cosmos if you sit still for a whole day.
Yep.
But no, put fire on it, go faster. That stops that interrupts nature's song. And wherever you are watching this, go to the nature spot near you, because there's nowhere that ain't got nature. Even Dubai, I'm sure you can find somewhere, you know. You know, there's going to be somewhere that's like an oasis or something like that, you know, that it heals you without trying. And that is ultimately what I'm intending for my voice, is that if I'm talking, if I'm laughing, if I'm saying silly shit, if I'm swearing, if I'm not swearing, if I'm singing, if I'm doing sound healing, well, guess what? It's still vibrating without trying on a higher vibration that will alter whoever's hearing it. And that's what nature does, without trying, without asking, without a big, like, you know, song and dance about it, like without a trophy, without an award, without a reward. It does it, and that's unconditional love. That nature, that a bee, every creature that you can think of that's been divine or seen as divine makes noise, you know. And the bee goes, and it goes to the flower and it gets this little drink and then gets a dump of pollen on its back and it keeps the whole world alive. That's what unconditional love is. And that's what the power of healing in nature is. Because if you've ever been around a beehive or a lot of bees and not aggressive towards them, they're not aggressive to you, the sound is absolutely beautiful. And it's that like when you see how small their wings are, how big their body is, that's ultrasonic that's ultrasonic levitation.
Like it is because their body doesn't match the wing ratio. Like that's exactly how on next level bees are. Like technically they should not be able to fly. So ladies and gentlemen, he's not talking nothing but truth here, right? What bees do shouldn't be possible by way we try to understand life. I mean, what is it in the other day on I came across a YouTube video on BBC, you know, the BBC ones, and they said, "Oh, we found that they found a big space on Earth, and they've made this big circle to try to measure how fast they can send atoms or molecules around, and they've now found a fifth source that doesn't actually act the way that they think that they know it to act." But it's quite weird. Once you've gone to certain levels, almost, you understand that there's something that pushes something that pushes something that pushes something. You don't necessarily have to understand what that is, but it's the same way with the harmonics and leading back to the bees. It's like, you don't, some things in life just accept it is what it is, and it does what it has to do beautifully.
100. Yep. Again,
And
it's
everything,
like, go on.
yeah, I was about to say everything you were saying before. I was gonna go on another one because I was just like, oh my god, he's so right. Because one of my favorite times in the day is literally when it's at night and no one's really moving, no one's doing anything, and then suddenly you hear there's birds that are tweeting at 2 a.m. in the morning, or there's bat wings that you can hear that are flying from here to here, or there's no additional sounds, but yet you can hear a hum, a subtle vibration. Like whether or not that is because of the city life, or maybe that's all the electrons that we're using for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, as we just said. No hate against you guys, but there's such a subtleness to it. When things are still almost, and you can just feel like a grander connection to it. And growing up in Hanwell, like you were saying about the sound of the Thames, I miss the sound of the Brent River, man. And just that the splash of water and always being around it, or even the little buzzes of flies or gnats or whatever. And as much as gnats are a nuisance because they just chew you up and leave a real nasty mark now, but aside from that, it's those little things that you take for granted.
The mosquitoes that wake you up. That's my one downfall. I mean, I'm not getting it where I live right now, but that was my one downfall when I came to Ibiza. Getting to sleep, being lucid dreaming, and then fuck off. I'm trying to sleep, and I was in the dopest dream. I was flying. Why are you doing this to me? Drink my blood. I don't care. Take it. Take every last drop, but let me sleep in peace. But I mean, just to put it in one simple sentence, like imagine you're a human being. The only communication that's ever happened to you is screaming in your ear, and then someone whispers from across the room. How are you going to hear it? Like, how are you going to hear it? That's the subtle. You brought it up. Subtle vibration, subtlety. Like some people don't get it because they're like, oh, you're a beatboxer and it's all. But subtlety is the currency of healing. Like the literal small tiny, like the nuances. The nuances in Tupac's flow and the things he said and the things he didn't say. The nuances in DMX's voice where you can hear where it's breaking, where you can feel the damage that the smoke might have been doing on his voice at the time. Like Lauryn Hill, when her voice cracks on Unplugged, a lot of people don't hear that. A lot of people just hear the words and the beat and it. Like those subtleties. I'll tell you one thing. You can figure out a lot about a human from just hearing them speak.
Yes.
Not just the words. The vibration of their voice says a hell of a lot. Or a heaven of a lot. But yeah.
No, it's dope, man, because we don't appreciate the impact of a lullaby. As being kids, and when your parents would sing you a lullaby as a child, you don't understand it as a child, as a baby, but you can understand the voice, the subtle of the voice in that moment of time. And it's unfortunately it's been devalued in a way, but at the same time, as you're adult you see things in a different light, you see how powerful that is. Just like you guys were alluding to earlier, how man's constructions has kind of stopped us from listening to Mother Nature's radio, like the simple sounds of a bird, or even earthquakes. Just the sound of an earthquake. You know what I mean?
Thunderstorms.
Thunderstorms, yeah.
Do you know what I think? It's like the machines have taken away the pretense. I guess it's maybe because it's maybe our generation, because it's just, you know, slightly a bit older. Not saying by much, but it's just the way it is for me. Or maybe it's just the way that I've grown up in an audio based situation. So even as a kid, like my dad used to say to me when I was younger, it's like, oh yeah, like even when you were a kid in your mum's stomach, we used to listen to a lot of music and, you know, just those little bits and bobs. So I always believe that by the time I've come out, like there's just this, like I've got a thing about bass, right? I just love the vibrate. I just love the, and then being as a young kid taken by my uncle to Notting Hill Carnival. Imagine that you're about this high. Right, and you're in Notting Hill Carnival with speakers that are just like, yeah, there you go, and it's out in all your chest, and you just like that, man. Yes,
you can feel your organs rattling in you,
and you want that as you get older, but you know it's just like it's not as safe because your ears ache just as well. But
but just even say you touched on something there, like my mum played Stevie Wonder through headphones in the stomach before I was born, so I had a head start, man.
Same here. I had a complete head start. That's why music to us is
sonic beings.
Yeah,
they're sonic beings. You know, they're called personas of sound. Like break down the Latin. I did 3 years.
We're learning. We're learning you today. That's education. Yeah. We give you the best here on the show at Creativity, baby. Thank you for that. Hey, break that down again. Personas of sound. Like it is literally personification of personification.
Yeah, personification, like the making of something from sound. Like how do they see a baby in a womb? Ultrasound. Like
true.
Break it
cat
down.
Scans.
Like scans. Cat scans. And cat scans. They purr. Cats purr. No one knows. Scientists still don't understand the mechanism, but it makes you feel good. They're just like.
And dolphins as well. Communicates through deep water through sound.
Whales, bats. Sonar, like it's so clear for anyone who's paying attention. And this and you mentioned Nature's Radio, like just another tidbit, because you know this could be a 24-hour show if you wanted it to be. Like it really
could. I gotta know.
I've got radio too. I actually, as much as we will. Okay, fine. As a Twitch thing, we'll do a 24-hour stream when we've got enough guests and people to join from around the world.
Just be about.
No, you can do the instrumentals in the back when you're bored, innit?
No, I was thinking of doing that for a crowdfunder, actually doing a 24-hour live stream. And just like non-stop.
Can we be a part of it? We're down.
Speak to Lean because he also does a Twitch stuff as well. So and get that stuff worth it. Yeah, shout out to Lean as well.
Yeah. But going back to my point, because you know tangents are beautiful and that, but we got to stay sometimes on it. The reason I'm called Radio is I was Marv. I stopped calling myself Marville. And then when I went to the Amazon rainforest and I was working with the Sequoia tribe, when they heard the sounds I made, radio. I say this in the album, like imagine like the moment where I'm like, what's a radio? It's an empty box that you plug into a power source,
bars,
and transmits frequencies for everyone to hear. Like, and I'm like, Marv Radio. Yeah, I want it to be radio, but I'm not Cher yet. I'm not Madonna. You know what I mean? Like one day maybe it would just be radio, but Marv Radio sounds good enough for me. I'm like, can I just be radio or the radio? But anyway, that's where that came from, and the fact that
that's your own inner demons there. Well, you can deal with that.
Nah, it's just, you know what it is? It's realistic marketing. You call yourself
radio?
Or,
yeah.
How are you gonna rank anywhere? Like,
they expect you to be at least Michael Winslow plus Razel plus Bismarck.
This is why I love Santan Dave, bro. Like, how has man called himself Dave and he's popped up everywhere? Like that's a G right there. But yeah, radio. We're all receiving and transmitting signals. The Schumann resonance of the sound of the earth. They've measured the sounds of the sun and the there's no sound in space. Okay, all right.
If you say so.
If you say so, but like, okay, so there's this big burning ball of gas that keeps us warm, and you're saying there's no sound.
That make nothing at all. Okay, right. Just because you don't understand the frequency of a level, because once again, vibrations. Because one of my favorite sayings is where does the land begin and the sea end, or reverse it either way, right? But then let's ask the grounding question of is where does space begin and the earth end?
Right.
Because we're saying that we're in this very thin bubble, but let's not forget that between each one of these levels and layers, if you go to a very deep vibrational level, there's a subtle balance that keeps this what it needs to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like big round things floating around in space. But anyways,
this is where we can go into some crazy tinfoil tangent. Shout out to tinfoilers though. I love the stories. But like, the Pleiadians are singing up. Like the Pleiadian aliens are singing and playing music that makes the human form do what it does, or that Thoth, Jehuti, Hermes, the scribe of the gods, used the power of words and sound, created the hieroglyphs to allow things to have like stories that are still permanent for us. Like these, like I cannot stress enough how important sound is and movement, sound and movement. They're linked, So
and that's the one thing. It coins that the idea of evolution of man. Like when you go to like tribes that hasn't come a part of the bandwagon when it comes to innovation and innovation when it comes to technology, they are one with the land, and they're still striving and still going on. So it kind of puts that question out there that have we actually really evolved using technology? If you think about by the conversation we're having right now, when you talk about like being one with nature, appreciating the sound of nature, and just adapting to what we already have as nature as it exists.
But I think that's the thing. I think it's like sorry, I know obviously this is more directed at Marv, and I definitely like your thoughts on this. But well, okay, no, that's cool because the thing is that for me, the way that I interpret it is that I do believe that. In fact, you know what? Better yet, we mentioned it a bit earlier. That fear of losing control. That's what it is. We've created a whole bunch of things.
The illusion of having control.
Control, exactly, in the first place. Exactly. It's like almost for me and Marv, like the evolution of doing stuff like this has helped us cross so many bridges that naturally before in our moving generation, as in face to face, would have been a lot harder to actually physically do. Now, the reality is that the people that are running the show at the moment know this. And what I mean by this is Instagram, before they realize that, oh, wait a minute, we're pushing everybody to the top of everybody's algorithm pile. We should be making money off these people. So now all of a sudden, where I used to follow, like I used to remember when Facebook, you could scroll and it's everyone who posted. If you posted, you're all there. And I used to love that. I used to love that.
Again.
Yeah, I want the wall. I want the old school wall where because anyone who's put, and it was just all there. And it was like, it doesn't matter.
Campaign for us to make a website called Wallbook.
Not even just called in fact, better yet, we're gonna call it the wall bomb. Because you remember what the graffiti, because in the case of wall bomb, we're gonna call it wall bomb. So because we're gonna scare people. They're gonna be like, oh my god, this is where ISIS and cool. That's the negative attention. We'll spin it off how we need to. All I'm saying is that literally it's a wall bomb, as in the old school graffiti term. Come up here, put your tag on, everyone gets to see it, and that's how it is. As soon as you post, you're done. Because even Instagram used to do the same thing.
Like I see Facebook, I see Instagram, I still get bots messaging me about porn every fucking day.
Bots are DM, bots are commenting on our stuff. Post it on this, post it on that, post it on this, post it on that. That's why I mentioned it.
We repost like from the radio show. I'll get bots like, oh yeah, you should send
promote it on this and post it on this. Yeah, that's exactly why I mentioned it. Sorry, anyways, Marv, go. That's what just confirmed.
Exactly. I don't know, it's exactly what I'm saying. And then you've got like people getting shut down for speaking in different opinions, and then you've got like pedophile sites that take months and months and months of people reporting it every day to go down. Imagine like a wall where the algorithm is how much does this contribute to the community's well-being? Okay, it goes to the top. Like imagine a life like that. Imagine a music industry like that. Imagine an entertainment scene that works, and how does it add to the well-being of humans? This is what I want to create, and this is why I'm doing some very hard and beautiful work with my business plan, with coaching leaders and helping people to speak like I speak and find their way, because I know that I'm crowdfunders, finding funding bodies, all that kind of stuff is there. But ultimately, like the creative realm is infinite, and we need actual resources as a community to make things happen. We could imagine we had what you needed to start a Facebook for, where it's just.
Do you know the funny thing? This is the reason, but Marv, this is the reason why I set up high creativity. This is one of the hardest messages, I guess, it's for me to push, but I've been doing it in smaller parts. Me and Ish's ultimate connectivity to get to this very part was with me, with the notion of what high creativity was, regardless if it's now here on the front end. The reality of the situation is that I want to be able to build something for us to be able to build through, but we have to realize is that it's always going to be a balance of things. There's always going to be people like us who take the hard line to try to teeter in the in-between of giving from both sides and not restricting people's creative intent. But you're always going to get people that are going to push one agenda and other people that are going to push a different agenda. So it's like, what can we bring to people? What platforms can we do? And furthermore, we do things that other people can't do. Each one of us here, you know, we're doing something like this. How many people can honestly come out there and actually have an honest, not make content, but have an honest conversation? Can you make conversation in the first place and admit, you know what? There we go. So it's like, I'm going to have the conversation. I might be wrong. I might be right. I've been corrected a few times already, and plenty of times by other people outside of this and within here, which then helps me construct the conversation a bit different. I don't want to bend to people's will. I never want to take away from the way that I'm having my experience. And bear that in mind, everybody. You're entitled to your own experience called life. However, if your experience by life is heavily dictated by what other people are saying or how other people are reacting to things, then yes, then I would suggest this is where people like ourselves come here, just listen to the podcast, grab our views, lose your life for a bit, get involved in us, or furthermore, you go speak to this brother right here, Marv Radio, and you see what he has to offer. At least try it. It's a different experience. It's a different vibration. This is coming from people that actually care about you without wanting anything in return, really.
Truly. And you know, it's just kind of, well, think about this. There's something called a algorithm that keeps people from the information they need. Algorithm. Like, there is a disruptive wave of frequency in the AI field that keeps the natural rhythm of humans connecting simply by meaning, or, you know, we connect through context. But instead of just connecting through context, we're like, do 1 million hashtags a day, comment on everyone's thing. When you get a follower, it's like, okay. And been doing that, and I haven't had a shower or brushed my teeth for 6 weeks because I was trying to do all of that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like algo, like some in Spanish. Algo is some rhythm. Some rhythm is interrupting our rhythm and stopping us from being felt on a grand scale. We have this. I don't know if you guys have heard about this pandemic that's been going around. It's kind of top secret.
Slightly, just a little bit.
You know, you guys are in the club.
It's been going on for over 365. You know, it's hitting numbers. I'm not moving.
Persons in isolation. Like, what, you want to hear a hi-hat? You want to hear a whole song that's just a hi-hat? Do you want that? Do you want to just hear? Is that
if you want to go insane, keep listening to your brain.
Exactly. Like, I am not a scientist. I am not telling anybody what to believe or to think, but it's a bit convenient that, like, people were coming together in a mass way that was about to change a whole lot of things, and now people have been in isolation, and like solitary confinement is a punishment, you know. So healthy people have been kept in isolation and stopped. The freedom of the freedom of movement has been stopped in the fear of some people dying from a disease. And yet, you know, cigarettes still get sold on a daily, but yet alcohol's still there, but yet, like, all governments are complicit in the trafficking of cocaine. Like, okay, all right, you care about our lives now? Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Africa, like, you care about us now? Oh, okay. So I'm not saying that I'm not putting my tinfoil hat on right now because it doesn't fit anymore. But
Yeah,
just
and I
think
can't
for
be bothered to
yourself,
make. I
right?
can't be bothered to make another one for the sake of the environment kind of situation. But no, you are right. You're right.
Yeah, and
You're
plus the
definitely
last thing I'm
right.
going to
You're
say on that
definitely.
point is at the point of the lockdown in November, that's when I moved countries from London. While I was being told I couldn't leave my house, is when I moved from London to Ibiza, and everything's coming up Millhouse, little Simpsons quote. But yeah, everything's coming up Marv Radio. Like since I made that choice where I was being told stay in my homes, and I got on a plane, stay in my homes. I only had one, but yeah, stay,
Balling.
stay in your home, homes. Stay home, stay in your home, man. But no, like to fly out and take a risk and not know what I was gonna do while I was being told do not leave your house, and I flew. Now people can't fly. Now people getting turned away at the airport. But while I was hearing that I couldn't, I tuned into my own vibration, my own personal opinion, and I came here, and my life has just been on the up and up ever since. So there is a point where like humanity needs to decide to be either the chorus or you can just be the hi-fi, you know? Like are you just gonna play everything that everyone else has played, or are
Telling
you
you to
gonna
play. Yeah.
yeah, are you gonna tune in and be a radio and find other frequencies and channels, you know?
Well, that's a funny thing because including your name, one of the things that turned me off radio, not Marv Radio, but Radio, was the fact of
What?
repetitive songs that used to get played on loop all the time. Because I used to, this is when I was really getting into DJing mindsets, and you start to pick up these notions, and it really does turn you off completely. Also, I will add a disclaimer, just primarily for YouTube reasons and such. Like all views and expressions are actually our expressions and where we come from and our views. So we by no means are saying that these are things that you need to physically do. However, one thing that I will back Marv with till the wheels fall off with this one, and I'm talking about old school wheels, like them rocky rock wheel rock made out of rock wheels, is follow and do what you feel that you need to do, as long as it really doesn't directly bring harm to others. And I mean that on a grander scale. It is a much deeper subject just to wash over. Unfortunately, Twitter generation loves to wash over that statement, but the reality of the situation is like you've just said, is I needed to do something in a period that felt right for me in order to do so. If you're always going to be held back by your fears of what other people's actually honestly opinion is of you, then speak. If you feel that you want to be a creator, or you want to create just more, not for people, but your own life, listen to those people that you're inspired by. One of the key things that they all turn around and say is I had to make that decision and move. And despite how hard it may seem, because you're going against what society's grip is onto you, you're not going to really be able to figure what it is that you want to do and live with that unhappiness and potentially pass that on to others. So if you do have families or you do meet other people, don't try to live your dream through them. And I guess maybe that's a bit of a now definitely a bit of a weird segue into this kind of statement, but it's just live for you. And
Yeah.
if you're trying to figure yourself out through what other people are doing because you're inspired by them, that's a good space to be in. There's
And
a lot
if your perspective is strong, you can hear other people's perspectives. You don't need everybody to agree with you. These
in fact
conversations are important.
you
You need
need to
disagreement.
have people that you need someone who's gonna disagree or have a different part of a conversation with you. Once again, it's like, I know it's a very finite thing, and that's the problem. It's a very fine balance to get into. But the reality is that I'm with Ish, but we don't agree about everything. I talk to Marv and we don't agree about everything. I talk to my
I don't
cousin,
agree with
to
that.
other people. Well, no, well, okay,
I
fair
don't
enough.
agree that
See,
we don't
so
agree.
how are you not agreeing
I
with
might
how we
agree to
agree?
that.
See what the
No, I
problem
might
is
agree
here.
to that.
You see what the problem here is already. but you see you see what we have. This is what it is that in a lot of cases we're taught that being a part of something else is going to be a detriment to everyone's existence. That's generally not the case, and anyone who's manipulating that is the problem. So that's why I'm so thankful to know people as great as you, Marv, as you, Ish, to everyone on IAmHipHop team and staff, and that's connected me to have these conversations, to everyone that's enabled me to believe that high creativity can be what it is. So if you've listened up to this very point, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to wrap this up. So Ish, have you got any other questions before we close off?
All I want to say, it's okay to be selfish. It's okay. We put a bad stereotype on being selfish. It's okay because being selfish means self worth, self value, self care. But at the same time, it's okay And it's important to never lose that structure of empathy for your common person. So you can do both. You can be selfish, but still have empathy and consideration for other people. And that's all I got to say, brother.
Yeah,
Marv,
man.
any
I
last
love
words
that. I
before
love
can you play us out as well? Sorry, I want to be cheeky.
Yeah.
Brother.
I love the term self-centered. I love when you think about that got turned into a negative thing, you know, self-centered.
That's a song right there.
Yeah, everything is a song.
Selfish. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So was it Slum Village? Hold you. Maybe I'm selfish. That's you.
You're my
Did I? And I can't let you.
be with
No one but me.
I know we coming around, my girl. That's like Mr. Bentley. Still the spotlight like Mr. Bentley. Be you to the full. That's what I want to say. Is be you to the full. Like, don't shrink yourself to try and fit into a world that is crumbling and dying because it was built on a system that wasn't built for proliferation and eternity. That was built on finite construction. Never try and fit in. Because if you're trying to fit in, you aren't that vibration that you're trying to find harmony, find resonance, find dissonance, find space, find fullness, find joy, find pain. Be yourself, honor everything you've been through, everything you're going through, everything that's brought you here, and accept that you are the master of your own environment, that you are the center of your own universe. And guess what? There's like 8 billion others of you to reflect and mirror and learn from. And the second that you think you know everything is the second that you need to realize you know nothing. I know nothing. I don't know anything other than my experience, my life, my joy, and that we are all sound. That's knowledge right there. But yeah, I just want to encourage people to find who they are and to encourage themselves to be that, like, in the midst of schools and workplaces and everything that tries to make you fit this robotic construct of a worker bee that is exactly like everyone else. Look, if we were meant to be ants, we wouldn't be humans. You know, we look like ants from up high.
Bars.
We have and persons. We have the ability to sing our own song. And you notice if you take a walk like I recommended and listen to nature, you'll hear that even two birds of the same species sound different. If you listen close enough. So yeah, be yourself, celebrate your difference, be you to the full. That's beautiful.
Bars. And with that, all of that stuff. No, but that's beautiful, absolutely beautifully said. So check out Mantra, album out now. Marv Radio's excessive amount of works. Make sure to check out marvradio.com. Search up Marv Radio on YouTube if you want the visual experience. He's got some definitely lengthy ones, but you won't be disappointed at all. If you're a bit more of a social, then once again, make sure you follow Marv Radio on Instagram. Once I could get to the top at Marv Radio, all one word. All the links will be at the bottom. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. This will also be up on Spotify as well. Can you, like I said before, can you just do us a little favor? Can you just play us out? Do you mind just giving us a little play out music? Straight, and this is all vocals, by the way, no instruments. This is straight live from the one and only Marv Radio.
This has been an episode of High Creativity.
Ain't nobody do it like this.
Hey, ish. That's about it. Ish.
Like the one you got. No one can do it better.
JuJu. Can JuJu. Yeah,
do what I wanna be. I mean, be what I wanna be. Do what I wanna do.
High. I said high creativity. The part. Class. High creativity. Great podcast. Want to give my shots. Marv Radio, Ish, C Stats, and Rich more. I am hip hop. High creativity podcast. Thank you so much, Marv Radio, man. Thank you for tuning in. JuJu is the way.
JuJu coming like Uncle Sloth on this. Perfect. Hey, I'm gonna stop you right there. You're gonna go again.
Peace, love, and all that
So
good
much fun.
stuff.
Anytime. Support
Nah,
high creativity. Support IAmHipHop. Support those you love and support yourself.
For real. Support That's Not Now. Support Marv Radio. Support just everything. Peace, love, and all that good stuff. We'll be back. One.